All right, welcome back live at Drew's house, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you had a good Christmas, Hanukkah, happy holidays, and hope you have a happy new year coming up. I cannot believe we're doing the final shows of 2020, what will be remembered. Well, we'll never forget 2020, of course. But yes, happy new year coming up, celebrate responsibly and all that good stuff. Today, my guest is a man that pretty much everybody in Newburyport knows. Of course, that's where this show is based out of. And it's really a restaurant that's, well, we'll talk a little bit about this, but it's a place that's really a community staple. And Dan Wilmot is an owner of the Park Lunch. He and his wife started the place. And obviously, Dan, first of all, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you for having me.
But let's start health-wise. I've been kind of opening the show, asking everybody how they and their families are doing. Everybody doing okay? Or?
Yeah, everyone's doing fine. Thank you.
Good. So the Park Lunch, your place, I mean, I've been hundreds of times. We used to go after calling the Newburyport hockey games. We used to go in there, and it seemed like nobody even asked where we were going after the game to go celebrate a win or go cry over a loss. It was just automatic. We'll see you at the lunch was always how it was explained. And that's what I mean when I say it's a community staple. It's a big part of the community, and but obviously it's a tough time for places like yours. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, obviously we're in the middle of the pandemic, and with all the restrictions we have on us from the local government, the federal government, the state government. For instance, right now, Governor Baker's latest restrictions, we're allowed 25 people in my building.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to have a big profit there on that one.
How many would you usually have on a going strong Saturday?
Our capacity is 100, and usually, you've been in there. It's usually filled.
Yes, usually you're struggling to get in. It's okay. So you're talking about 25% capacity. Obviously, how do you keep a place going like that? This must be stressful times like you've never been through.
I have more gray hairs now than I've ever had. We've just, we're fortunate. We have a big following. The locals have been very, very good to us. We're very grateful for that. The amount of support that we've got from the community and friends, it's been overwhelming at times, honestly. I mean, just some people that reach out. Just for instance, yesterday, a friend of mine that I went to high school with that I haven't talked to, I talked to him about a month ago. Prior to that, 2 years. Bought gift cards from California, a whole swool of them to give out to different churches. I was like, it's like, that's how I started my day yesterday morning. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
You're kidding. Wow. That was just after seeing something online about,
yeah.
Talk about that. I mean, obviously it's a community, like I said, it's a community staple. So it's one of those things that people do not want to see go away. What has that step up been like? I mean, you got the story like that, but I know, people are struggling too. So it's not, some people, it's great if you can give, but it's not an easy time for so many people.
No, it isn't. And like most restaurants in town, we have had layoffs. We've laid off, a couple of cooks, several waitresses. We've just had to. I've gone back to the kitchen cooking full time, which I hadn't done for a few years. But it is what we have to do it right now. We have to cut back. You don't need all that help when you only have 25 seats. And prior to that, our restriction alone prior to that with the 6 feet apart, we were only getting 50 people in there anyways, and now we're at 25. So takeout depends on the day. Some days it's better than others. And
so that last move into this latest phase that brought you down to 25, did that move in itself trigger layoffs?
We haven't done that yet. We had already done some of the layoffs. We're just kind of waiting. This is supposed to be 2 weeks, but originally it was supposed to be 21 days. So we're kind of waiting it out to see what happens, honestly.
How hard is that? Because I know anybody who's ever worked in the restaurant industry, it's a tussle and bustle, and it's a grind, but it's also a family atmosphere. It's like you got to depend on that person that's working next to you to do their part, and you really do become close in that way. I know there's nothing easy about making layoffs.
No, it's very hard, especially for us, because it is a family to us. I've got waitresses. I've been there since 1984, and I started working there as a prep cook and a dishwasher back then. And I have waitresses that work for me now that were there then.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I mean, yeah, it is a real family atmosphere. You know, 1 minute when it gets the heat of the fire, like any restaurant, everyone yells and screams at each other, and then 2 minutes later, everyone's fine. At the end of the night, we're having a beer together.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You can really feel that when you go in. Again, we're joined here by Dan Wilmot. He and his wife Karen, the owners of the Park Lunch. I think I'll go as far as to say the legendary Park Lunch in Newburyport. It really is a special place. It's so, for me, it's like, I think you guys kind of epitomize that story of like the place that nobody wants to see go away, because there's those places like, the Cheesecake Factories of the world that can probably survive with all their chains and the big money behind it. But you guys are that community staple. There's no Park Lunches in the surrounding community. You are a Newburyport staple that nobody wants to see leave.
And we're trying our best. We hope to be here at the end. I'll be honest with you, it's been tough. Can I say 100% we'll be here at the end of it? I got no idea. Depends on how long it lasts. My wife and I personally have put everything we had into this place over the last year just to keep it going. And unfortunately, the support that you get from the government hasn't been enough. The state has done nothing.
I saw a group from the Restaurants Association just this week come out, and they actually started bringing out data showing how much of the virus clusters have come from houses versus restaurants, and the restaurants are not showing much. It does seem to me, and I'll just be honest, I mean, I haven't gone too often, but I have gone and sat in restaurants through this pandemic, and I will say in every case, and I'm all for believing in the science and everything, but the restaurants have done, it seems to me, an unbelievable job of completely remaking their places and changing their protocols. And that is the vibe I'm getting from most restaurants out there. I'm sure you've made plenty of changes. Walk me through the Park Lunch, the looks of it these days.
Oh my God. There's plexiglass everywhere. In most all restaurants here, especially in Massachusetts, I mean, we have a high protocol we have to follow for the standards, and now they've made it it's so much harder now to do it. Say a customer comes in and sits at a table. Well, when that customer sits down, prior to them sitting down, every single inch of the seats and the plexiglass in front of them and behind them and the tables have all been wiped, and you have to do that between every single customer. The salt and pepper shakers and all that stuff was. We have so many sets of it kicking around because you have to give them a fresh set every time and wipe everything in between. The spacing out, I mean, the signage alone, oh my God, the different arrows and signs, don't do this, you have to have this, you have to have that. What we've put into just that has been crazy.
What do you feel and you mentioned how obviously those latest restrictions really hurt you going down to 25%. The one complaint that I seem to keep hearing from restaurant owners, really from business owners in general, is that kind of a lack of communication from government officials and just these press conferences that are just broadly strapping businesses, and two, putting businesses in kind of like a box, like, it's just, you've never been here, you don't know the place, and this can work with this many people as long as you let us do our thing. What is your biggest complaint? I'm sure you might have a few, but from the government right now.
Honestly, just the lack of help from them. They don't. So
Financial or
you'll just for asking questions like you brought up. You haven't been to this place, and so you go to the local board of health and ask their opinion on something, and they'll give you one opinion, and then you look on the state site and you get this opinion on how to do it. Then you look on the CDC site, and there's just too many variations of how to do one thing. They can't all agree upon one thing. At one point at the midway of this thing, I had the local board of health come in just for a regular thing, and the woman, her rules that she had were totally different from what the state and what the CDC had. For instance, like I said, the plexiglass. Originally, we were able to put tables against the bar, no plexiglass, as long as our bartender had a mask on, and we had to go around and act like it was a table. We weren't serving over the bar.
Mm.
Oh my! By the end of it, well, now my bar has plexiglass up and down the damn thing.
Okay.
This is what the locals are forcing, but the state one says you don't have to do it, and the federal one, you don't have to do it. So it's too many variations of the stuff. They all got to get on the same page on that stuff.
Get on the same, yep, and that is something I've heard as well. Dan Wilmot joining us again from the Park Lunch in Newburyport. How can you? What is the biggest thing restaurants need right now? Is takeout enough? I mean, can I know it's helpful and you guys are doing a lot of that, but I imagine there's not enough people even on a busy Saturday that are calling in to take out. Is it helping enough?
No. No, honestly, I mean, we're not a type of place either that is a GoFundMe play. We don't want that. If anything, come out. If you're afraid to eat inside, please get a takeout, get a gift card, buy a shirt, buy a hat, stuff like that you can have and use. I mean, that little stuff all adds up, and that's the stuff that will keep us going.
Yeah,
I get it. A lot of people are still afraid to come in and sit down, and everyone has their own, I don't have any judgment on that. Everyone has their own cues of what they feel their comfortability is. So.
How have you, I mean, I don't, and maybe this is the thing that keeps you up at night, but have you done like the spreadsheets that say, however many more months of this, we're going to have to make a decision at this point, if this keeps going this long, what is that timeline breakdown?
We have, and I just try to stay away from it. Honestly, my wife doesn't let me look at that stuff anymore. Because, every day you look at the sheets, you say, okay, on this day last year I did this. And, the computer system shows what you did that every day and every hour, the day and up to the week before when you print it out the next morning. So I'll go on this morning when I go down, I'll print out what I did yesterday and it will compare it. And it's like, you just get this gut in your stomach because it's not as good as last year. There's very, very few days that has been as good as the days that you were that week last year.
I bet.
And the year before, it's just like, man, we're just trying to scrape by. We just want to be here at the end, Not a profitable year, but we want to remain.
And your wife, of course, you just mentioned is Karen, it's Dan and Karen Wilmot. To bring me back a little bit, what made you pull the trigger on jumping into ownership of this place, saying, I want to own this. This is going to be a great place in Newburyport. I'm going to put a few decades of my life into it.
I started working there when I was 14 doing dishes, and I just worked my way up. And when I worked for the guy that I bought it from for 30 years, when he was ready to retire, I'm like, I was already running the place for him. So I'm like, what the heck? Too old now, keep staying in it.
It's really, it became a way of life for you almost.
Absolutely.
What does it mean to you when you see I'm sure maybe there's some customers that you'd rather not see every day, but what does it mean to you when you see like I said at the beginning of the show? I mean, my first introduction in Newburyport was doing the play-by-play for the high school hockey games. And it was just automatic that it was after the game, once the coaches accepted you and they figured they could we could hang with the play-by-play team. You would go to the park lunch, and then they invite you over and you go hang out with the coaches and you talk about the game, and then you quickly notice that not only are the coaches there, but here come all the parents from the game. Here come maybe the players are there too, but fans that were at the game. There's the local sports writers. It's like, oh, okay, everybody just comes here after the game. What does that kind of family atmosphere mean to you?
You know what? It's honestly, a lot of times I spend most of my time in the kitchen. So I'll come out of the kitchen and you see all these people, and they've just come from one of the sporting events, and it's just some days it's overwhelming. You're like, oh, all this support, and we're the local cheers, if you want to call it, and we're the only neighborhood bar left in town. Everything else is they're different. It's a different atmosphere. When prior to us, we're young, but prior to us, I mean, there was one of those places on every corner in Newburyport, and we're the last one. Yeah,
it is true. If you think about it, I mean, it really is. That's special. I love that line of cheers where everybody knows your name at the park lunch.
Everyone kind of uses that analogy to the place, but it's true. It's true. Everyone. You know what they're drinking when they come in. Like you said, for the coaches, around for the coaches. The bartenders all know what they're drinking. Hey, You don't have to ask. They don't just it's around.
Yeah. The it's funny. I think back to some of those times there, and it's almost like people have their own stations in the place too. It's like, the certain coaches will always go to the left corner, or
Yeah.
families. Yes, parents, please keep your distance.
Yeah, we've had more than one issue with a parent mad that their kid didn't play enough time.
I'm sure you've seen some epic conversations happen at the park.
Oh, yeah.
I bet that's correct. Walk me through your day a little bit. Like you said, you've got back behind and now you're cooking. I've heard so many stories like this of just obviously, one person taking on many other roles now, just trying to keep places going. I imagine you're working 5 times harder these days to keep this place going?
Oh, absolutely. We're trying to do different things, for instance, for Christmas, we offered up selling whole lasagnas and half lasagnas and our whole quiches to go. And we'd never done that before. We have them in-house. We make them all in-house. And we had a very good response from it, people buying them. So it was good. But yeah, every day it's something different. 2 days ago, I went in the morning, the janitor called in sick, so I was the janitor. Then I worked to double on the line cooking. At the end of my night, the grease trap blew up, so then I was the plumber. You gotta try to fix stuff that you can, and so you can't keep hiring everyone to do different stuff,
Yeah. What is the, I know those conversations, like I mentioned earlier, are not easy, but when you lay people off, or is the plan, let's say in a year there's a vaccine and you guys have rebounded and hopefully life is normal again, fingers crossed. Would your ideal plan to be, let's bring back all those people that were family Absolutely. That I've had to let go?
Absolutely, because they are like a family. And then, when I had to do the very first one, that was probably the hardest, because we haven't laid people off ever. We're not a type of place that does that. We're busy traditionally year round, so we never have to do it. This is the first time we've ever done it.
What is that? How does that conversation go? Is that just from somebody who's never? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, honestly, it was awful because it was it was an older gentleman that was doing dishes for us during the day, but we just don't need a dishwasher during the day. When you get line cooks standing there doing nothing, and he's retired, and it was an extra job for him, and he just. But that was the first one, and that was honestly the highest. I stood there, and he got it. He understood it, and he's got his hand on my shoulder, consoling me, saying, "Don't worry, it'll be all right. I get it." And he goes, "And I'll be back when it's better." And honestly, that was awful.
He was there to console you.
Yes. Yep. That was a bad day. That was a real bad day. I never wanted it to get like that.
The only reason,
and that was Christ. We brought because we stayed open the entire pandemic. We never shut. We resorted to the takeout. Then we went to the outside dining, and then the outside inside. But we kept everyone going. And then right after September, when it started getting a little cool, that's when it kind of went scuffles up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I only asked that question because it just gives you an idea of the kind of trickle down effect of these positions, and how when these restrictions do kick in, those are real people and real jobs that are hurt and taken away.
Oh yeah, it's I've got line cooks, guys that are trained chefs doing dishes right now, because they're going to take the ones that I have left on that I haven't. Like I said, I've laid off several cooks and several waitresses, and these guys got mortgages, they've got car payments, they've got a child support. One of them, but they will do whatever you want them to do. They're jumping over, washing dishes, mopping floors, doing everything, just because we all need to be there, and they know we can't afford a janitor right now full time. We can't. There's very little dishwashers, so
yeah,
so everyone jumps in.
As depressing, as annoyed, as frustrating as you've been through all this, has there been a level of that from whether it be just you and your wife, or just the staff in general, that kind of will do anything to keep this place running, that has been inspiring, that kind of attitude of we'll jump over the bar, we'll clean this table 75 times, we'll do whatever we're going to do to keep this going. Has there been an aspect of that that's been inspiring for you?
Oh yeah, when you see, we've cut down, like I said, on wait staff, and you see a waitress and a bartender running around just trying to get as many people. You see someone standing there waiting, and they're running their butt off just to get that table cleaned, so they can get the next party in, because they know it benefits them and it benefits us. So yeah, we've got some hustlers that have really, my wife and I are there every day. Like I said, I've gone more to the kitchen, but she's out there running around. She hasn't waitress in years. So.
Yeah. There's so much of the talk throughout this has been, restaurants, theaters, places like this, bars, they would not be able to really relaunch again until a vaccine. And obviously over the last month, we've had some promise on that. What was your reaction when you started hearing, okay, seems like vaccines are starting to come to the surface here? It might take a little while, but what was your reaction when you heard that? Because that's obviously good news for not only Newburyport, not only the country, but the world.
It is. Honestly, my reaction was, give me 2. If it means get us open right now, I don't care. Let's go. It just, absolutely. I'm all for the vaccine. Science is the science on the stuff,
Yeah. Give me 2 is a great line. It's interesting though. I was curious on your reaction. I pretty much got it, because I know so many people heard, yeah, vaccine is great, but we need help now, is kind of the feeling I just got from you.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Hopefully this round of PPP comes out that helps us, keep everyone going, because it's winter. It's, like I say, we're busy year round, but like every other place, we always, in the wintertime, it's slower, and those are the struggling months to begin with. And now it's, trying, because you're going into your slower months and you didn't have the revenue to back it all year long that you usually have to cushion you through those months. Yeah. It's scary. No one knows now, what's going to happen. And without the help, yeah, we could be in trouble. So we definitely need some support from the government to jump in. And like I said, and we'll take any type of support, customers coming out with. So we're not a GoFundMe type of player. I'd rather cook you a meal, try our stuff if you haven't been there, because you'll like it and you'll keep coming back. And that's the support we want,
You mentioned we've talked a little bit about the government, but I wonder, when you talk about that not being on the same page that you mentioned earlier, kind of bugging you the most, and is there an aspect of, maybe I will say it and just let you answer it. Is there an aspect of feeling like abandoned as a restaurant owner by the government?
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. We get blamed for everything. Like you had said earlier, the statistics on it show it's less than 1% of this is coming from out of restaurants, and we're like the fall guys for it. Just put an analogy to it. And it might be apples to apples. I don't know how everyone takes it a little differently. You can go to the grocery store and you got a lady sitting there picking up a jar of spaghetti sauce. Nope, I want that one. Puts it down. Nope, I don't like that one. Too many tomatoes in it. Nope, no different ingredient. You can touch everything in the grocery store, yet we spend hundreds of dollars a week on sanitizer, because we have to sanitize every single surface of that building, every doorknob, every single piece of it. You're telling me that the grocery store's wiping down every jar of spaghetti sauce every night?
Yeah.
And if someone gets the virus that's in a restaurant, we're lepers. It's awful. They're like, oh, you don't want to go that place. But I of the grocery stores here in town, I know for a fact that a couple of them, they've had issues. They've never shut down. No one's ever heard about it. And but I know it has happened, because I know one of the guys that works there that told me that he had, we didn't do anything. It's like, how does that work for you guys? Yet it's a double standard for a restaurant. You have to go through all these hoops to get open again.
Yeah. And even with all those hundreds of dollars you're putting in and all the time and effort it takes to wipe these things down, you're okay with doing it. Just let us work a little bit.
I will gladly do it, but Jesus, don't blame us for the whole thing. And it just seems like restaurants are getting blamed for it. It's, we're the ones that get all the restrictions. Yeah. And, one of the biggest ones, that 9:30 cutoff for your bar. You've been there. We're a drinking establishment. 9:30 is a little early.
I'll deny any stories of me staying there well past 9:30. Again, we're joined here by Dan Wilmot, Park Lunch in Newburyport. And actually, I did want to ask about that a little bit. I mean, the 9:30 I know is killer for so many restaurants. This feels like one of those broad brush things to me, because I understand the concept behind that. That is, let's get the kind of the young guys, the young adults that are out there in their party lifestyle. We can't have them drinking, and decision making goes out the window, and the social distancing guidelines go out the window as well. You suddenly start hugging your best friend you haven't seen in a little while. I understand the concept behind that. I think my big problem with that, when I initially think about it, is that, okay, so you're talking about in a lot of these places, like maybe these college bars or these young adult bars and all that, it's really not the case in so many places. Like,
Correct.
I mean, the Park Lunch is not a place where you're going to have, it's not like a massive college crowd that's going to be showing up and partying until 1 a.m. These are, that's kind of the vibe I got. That rule was put in place for kind of that younger demographic, I think. And we heard Governor Baker attack the kids, and the kids are spreading the virus. I get it, but not every place is like that.
No, and most of them aren't. We're not a college town. I get it for the college towns, absolutely, and it makes sense for that. But from what I've seen and what my bartenders have seen, because we're a place that we get a lot of the staff from other restaurants will come in after their shifts, and I think it backfired what they were trying to do on that, because every single one of my bartenders has said the only thing that's done is at 9:15, one of the people that is sitting there will run across the street and grab a 30-pack, and they're all going back to someone's house, and they're not sitting around with masks on.
Yeah.
So, and at least when they're in the restaurant scenes or at a bar or in Massachusetts, you have the plexiglass. They're all social. You're only sitting with your little people, and I think it kind of backfired on that. I get the purpose of it and why they're thinking it, but I don't think it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I know you can't take the time to go treat every individual business just because you can't go in and evaluate these and say what would be and what wouldn't be okay. But it does seem like there's a lot of broad brushes that.
Yeah, but the blanket effect, it just like you said, it's very broad, and it affects too many people when it should affect a small amount.
Yeah, very interesting. Dan Wilmot, I usually end this show by doing a little rapid fire. I'm sure you've seen this before, but the first thing that comes to your mind, you got to kind of answer. Are you cool with it?
Oh yeah.
We'll change gears a little bit here, just because I like people to get to meet the man too. Actually, all you got to do is go to the Park Lunch, because you're pretty much there all the time. So you come out and see you do a good job of bouncing around and doing the meet and greeting too. But we'll meet you here anyway on the show. So Dan, all right, here we go. We'll start here. Very random questions, but you're a restaurant owner. Let's start there. What is the favorite food?
My favorite food?
Yep.
I'm a hamburger guy.
Hamburger guy.
Yep.
There we go. And I'm sure you'll point people towards the Park Lunch Burger if I had to.
Well, we every day ground up by our local butcher. So
there you go. Very good. All right, shifting gears. Favorite musician?
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, you're gonna like our guest here later in the week. We have Nils Lofgren coming out of the E Street Band. Very nice little segue. That's funny. I'll try to mention that if I remember. Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie? I don't know if I really that. Oh Christ, I don't know.
Did we do any Christmas movies here? Did we do any this time of year?
Oh yeah, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation was pretty good.
What is the number one thing that people don't think about? The one biggest challenge of being a restaurant owner? Don't think about 2020. Normal times. Normal times?
Yeah. Oh, trying to control the chaos with your employees. Some days it's like being a babysitter.
It really is one of those. It's one of those industries. There's certain jobs that I always describe it as like kind of flying a plane. Like once it starts, it's going. If there's,
I mean, honestly, it's like it is like being a big, because you got grown adults fighting over a TV chasing in the kitchen. This one's mad at that one for taking too many pies. Oh yeah, but it's fun. Like I said, we all, at the end of the day, everyone's having a beer together. So.
And what is the, how about, I mean, you mentioned you guys are kind of the local tavern as far first, like, the chain establishments. I am wondering, and this veers away from rapid fire a little bit, but how about the support among like restaurants in the community? Is there any of that, or is it kind of fending for themselves? I'm just wondering, like, do the groups of restaurant owners come together and like, we're in this together, or not so much?
Not so much right now. I think everyone's kind of just trying to stay alive. The ones, I know there's some places that have, they're going into hibernation, I guess is what they're calling it, and shutting down for a little while for the winter. But everyone's kind of in just it's survival for yourself right now. I mean, there's plenty of places in town. They call me or I call them. There's several that we go back and forth like, hey, I'm out of this. Can I borrow this? And can I borrow that? And then, we do that. But everyone does that all the time to each other. You always try to help somebody out that way. Yeah. I mean, and everyone still would with that. But support-wise, it's so hard right now for everybody.
So now instead of a thing of beer, now it's, can I get a thing of hand sanitizer or something? It's
pretty much. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. The one thing that the community can do, we talked a lot about gift certificates and coming out. What would be the thing that you guys need most right now from the community? Is it already being done? Come out if you can. I know you don't want GoFundMes or anything. You want people to still come out, but what would be the one thing that if you could ask the community, what would it be?
Just, not only support us, support anything local here. Just stay local. Don't go to the big chains, the big restaurants that are, the chain type of stuff. Support the local guys. We're not the only local place in town. There's a lot of places that need it too. And, we appreciate the help, and we'd absolutely, I know this is about us trying to promote us, but just support local. Just stay in town and support everyone here.
Anything you learned about yourself this 2020 go around as you're back there doing a million things, trying to keep your, trying to keep your baby alive here, really? Yeah,
I eat a lot more when I'm stressed.
I think that is a common 2020 story for a whole lot of people, not even in your business, me included here at the house. Jeez. We talked a little bit about the green shirt off the air. What is sport that thing? Look at that.
That's we have a men's league that funny thing was they were starting their first game last spring. They got one game in, and then the pandemic hit. Bunch of local kids. Some of them are firemen, some are cops, some are just regular Joes. They come in, they're good guys. Group of kids, and we sponsor them.
And you guys, I think, do you sell some of the merchandise on the wall?
Oh yeah, we sell our own merchandise. We do. Yep, hats, shirts, you name it. We have glasses, koozies.
There's another way to support the place. Then go buy something off your wall in that place. I always mention for people who have not been into the park lunch. We've already mentioned that's a bad thing on your resume, so you got to get in there at some point. But the walls are covered with all these epic photos of years past. A lot of sports stuff, obviously. But has that always been? I'm probably like last decade, kind of new to Newburyport. Has it always been like that since you were there?
Oh yeah, yep. That's the guy that I bought the place from. When he bought the place in 1977. Now the park lunch has been around since 1935. We used to be next door where the gas station was, and then they moved to our location in 1957. So now I'm only the fifth owner in the 85 years. So.
Did he ever? Who was that? Who was your mentor there? Who was the person?
Mike Doyle.
Mike Doyle. And did Mike ever explain to you the thought behind putting everything on the wall?
It was actually his dad's idea. You put up local sports pictures, and he goes, and then they started with just a couple of pennants. You've seen they're everywhere now. But those they put up the local high schools back then. Back then it was those Triton, Newburyport, Amesbury, Pentucket. That's what they started with, the pennants. And then over the years, we've bought some of the bigger ones, some of the expensive ones, but 90% of those are brought in by customers that come in and say, "You don't have my school." And next, I'll get one in the mail, or someone will be dropping one off. And we've actually started. We had someone actually go through and put it down. We actually have a list now. You come in and say, do you have this school? We go run over the list. And it's on this wall over here. And so we put them in alphabetical order and what wall they're on, because there's over 400 of them now.
Then you have the Newburyport people saying, can you take the North Reading stuff down, please? That is too funny. What's the, and just in our final couple moments here, the idea of that being that's kind of what I'm talking about when I mentioned the community staple there of all that stuff on the wall and bringing in the people. I do wonder, has any like, I don't know if maybe celebrity is the right word, but do you ever get like people that come in there? What's the coolest story of like somebody from out of town, maybe celebrity, I don't know, who comes in and goes, I just had to try this place. I've heard so much about it.
We've had some celebrities over the years that come in, and one of my favorite was, it's going back a little bit. Jake the Snake Rocco, he was a wrestler. He was in town and he stopped in because he had heard about it. Not a real celebrity, he was a wrestler, but
yeah. It's funny how they're word of mouth people, because there are people who they'll come to town or whatever and they'll say, find me the best local establishment, right? And then tends to be
we are the local establishment.
And as you say, now you are the local establishment. Well, Dan Wilmot, I wish you all the best, sir. Thanks for taking some time with us on another one of your busy days here as we work through and start to end 2020. Let's hope for better things here in 2021, and hopefully you guys can get flying and going full speed again here in a few months, sooner rather than later, hopefully.
All right, Drew, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Dan Wilmot of the Park Lunch in Newburyport. All right, that's that. We've heard so many stories just like that. Business owners, restaurant owners struggling through this thing. And Dan, obviously, it's few. He had a lot of great one-liners there. One I really thought was interesting was the, we don't want to go the GoFundMe route, which is, I know, just so many places have gone. He's trying to avoid that, asking for money. He still wants people to, if you feel comfortable, come in. So if you do feel comfortable going out, go do that. Go support local. If not, that takeout option is there at the Park Lunch, like so many of these local establishments. That was a big thing around the holidays here, was support local if you can. Hopefully some of you got to do that. But all the best to Dan and Karen Wilmot as they keep what he calls really the only local kind of established place left in Newburyport, the Park Lunch in Newburyport. Good to hear the community support has been there throughout this, though. Business is way down, obviously, with these restrictions. So it's tough. But anyway, it's a great place. Spent a lot of late nights there after Newburyport hockey games, just talking hockey with hockey coaches. Good memories. That'll do it. Another edition live at Drew's house. Hope everybody's doing all right out there. Stay safe, stay socially distanced, all that good stuff. Until next time.